This week on Politically Speaking, the state of the Republican Party in San Diego, why they haven't centered on a candidate in Congressional District 50. Also, can you hear me now? Some San Diego Verizon customers say no. Why the solution now requires movement in Mexico. This is Politically Speaking.
From NBC 7 News, this is Politically Speaking with Alex Precier.
Welcome to this week's show. The city of San Diego is in talks to extend a contract for Verizon Wireless cell phones. All this while residents report service disruptions from the wireless giant. But first, there's a lot to talk about in East County. Congressional District 50, which makes up a large swath of our region, all the way up to parts of Riverside County, is going to be one of the most tightly contested congressional races come 2020. This in a week where the San Diego Republican Party held a forum aimed at giving its voters a better look at the candidates in hopes that they might find someone to vote on for this March primary. With me now are two gentlemen who have been covering the district and these candidates for some time. Political and county government reporter Charlie Clark, also military reporter Andrew Dyer, both of the San Diego Union Tribune. Gentlemen, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, so Andrew, I want to begin with you because you were at the forum with me on Monday of this week. Senator Brian Jones, Darrell Issa, Carl DeMaio, and Congressman Duncan Hunter all on stage there. What was something that really stuck out to you that evening?
To me, I think it was just the bunker mentality of the local Republican Party. There was a lot of talk of party unity and trying to prevent the candidates from sniping at each other. Of course, there's an incumbent Congressman, Duncan Hunter. We don't know what's going to happen with him. He's got a criminal trial coming up. And so there's still kind of an almost wait and see aura among the county party.
And Charlie, you've been covering this race for a while now. Are you seeing the same kind of approach with Republicans in East County? It's a wait and see mentality as this trial kind of looms in the distance?
So I think obviously that was the mentality last year. That's part of how he got reelected. I think that still exists to a degree. I think it's dissipating a bit more as they have more formidable alternatives kind of emerging. Obviously, Carl DeMaio has his own kind of cult following that he's really built up, and he's really been working the district a lot. Then obviously Darrell Issa has been a known commodity in San Diego County for, 20-some years.
Well, and so on that point, I remember Monday night, Carl DeMaio is the only person that comes out literally with a following. It was almost like the entrance to a boxing bout or something. But in terms of performance, I mean, who really stood out to you on the stage, Andrew?
I mean, it's got to be Carl DeMaio. He was one candidate. Him and Duncan Hunter really looked like they were engaged in an active campaign to win. The other candidates were a little bit more reserved, especially former Congressman Issa. But I think DeMaio, he came out swinging more than any of the other candidates.
He really did. And I mean, you saw that he had the anecdotes in the audience where, I think it was Karen, where, he looks out at one point and is like, hey, Karen, can I tell this story? And launches in. And you know that in some respect, I mean, this all has to be thought out in advance because he is on a clock. But I mean, very, very focused and seemed to win points with the crowd. But did the reception of Duncan Hunter that night, did that surprise you?
I think that we tend to look at Congressman Hunter from a bit of an outside perspective. I don't live in his district, but within his district, he remains pretty popular, and I think you kind of saw that. He looked very comfortable. He was on point, and he had several kind of applause lines throughout the night that people in the crowd really responded to, and you can kind of see why he's remained in Congress and why he was reelected last year. The county Republicans, they do respond to him.
What struck me as interesting is right now the San Diego GOP is doing this delicate dance. The only reason there is a forum there was a forum, was because there is this looming trial come January with Congressman Hunter. Meanwhile, it's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to directly address. And I think it was even laid out by Chairman Tony Kavarik at the onset. Here we're focusing on our individual accomplishments and what we bring to the table, not looking at tearing down other candidates. Charlie, how is the district kind of dealing with this elephant in the room? I mean, do you come across folks that are willing to address it more openly when you're looking anecdotally, just reporting, or is it kind of like that room on Monday where it's there but nobody's really kind of talking about it?
I think anecdotally more people are acknowledging it, certainly. I think that's part of the reason you're seeing more of this uprising this time around as far as alternative candidates. I still think, as Andrew kind of pointed out, Duncan has a long history in the district. His family does. I think a lot of people know him personally, which goes a long way. So I think there's still, even though we have polling that suggests there's the majority of people out there, think there was something that he did wrong. I think a lot of people still don't want to see any personal harm to him, per se. And I think that's a bit of what you're seeing reflected in this now.
Yeah. Andrew, did you have a winner for Monday? Is it Carl DeMaio?
It's tough. I feel like if there is a winner, maybe it's Duncan Hunter. In fact, that the county didn't endorse anybody. They did not endorse against the sitting congressman. So he still goes into the primary without that baggage. He's got a lot of baggage, but he's still the incumbent. He's still kind of the person to beat in the race. And the fact that there was no endorsement, it kind of he can still kind of lean on that.
Yeah. And actually, we got to take a quick commercial break, but I want to drill down on the fact that they didn't endorse. So stick around. Coming up after the break, more on this race and the Hunter trial. We'll be right back.